Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, the garage is a disaster and the engine is outside. That's because we are going to be cleaning and painting it. We're also going to clean this firewall up, get some of this stuff removed because we're going to be painting it as well. Probably just going to tape off this master cylinder. I'm not going to take it off, but we'll get all the other stuff removed, start cleaning it as well, getting it painted. Engine is out here in the driveway. We have got everything pretty much taped off, ready for it to get cleaned up. Intake and exhaust, everything's off. So we're going to be cleaning that up, cleaning this firewall up, and getting everything painted and looking good in this video. So, it's enough talking. We're going to go ahead and get to work. Alright, so what we're going to be using is some of this gunk engine degreaser, you know, your AutoZone special. And we're just going to come out here, kind of give this guy a little spray, let it kind of soak in. Oil pan needs it more than anything. We're going to kind of spray it off, let it soak, hit it with the hose, keep rotating this engine around until we can get this somewhat clean. This is the easy part, and then we're going to be taking you into the garage and doing the firewall. And we're just going to come out here and keep cleaning this as we go, rotating this engine around. So we'll let that soak for a little bit, and we're going to get started pulling some of this stuff off the firewall. I'm just going to start, get these braces out of the way. Give me a little more room to work. Alright, so the next thing I'm doing right now is just getting these wires pulled off of my dimmer switch so we can try and get this harness pulled up and out of the way. Alright, dimmer switch is up, so we can pretty much get this whole harness moved except for right here where this is running to the rear end taillight section of the truck. You can pretty much get this moved out of the way. And if you're wondering, this is a 12-volt system on this truck. I did wire this truck up. It didn't have any wiring in it at all when I got it. This is actually just a painless wiring harness. So if you're curious and you have a truck similar to this and you want to rewire it, they do not make a universal kit. It's just like a plug and play to this. This kit is just one of Painless's, I think it's an 18 circuit universal truck harness, and it works fantastic. I haven't had any issues with this electrical at all. When you're on their website, you can just type in for your universal harness, whether it's a key and dash or key and column, whether it's a truck, how many circuits you want, whether you want power windows, all that stuff. I wanted just bare bones, so I got the smallest kit they had, and I actually got a bunch of extra wires left. Kind of just rolled up underneath the dash. It's plenty for me, and it works great. So if you're curious, that's the wiring harness in this truck. It's a painless universal kit. So if you want to wire up your truck and you got one similar to this, whether it be a Chevy or whatever, you can go to their website. They're not that expensive for everything that you get, and the instructions are amazing. You really can't mess it up. I actually wired this up. I hate doing electrical work, and I've never wired up a vehicle before, so this was my first one, and I literally had no problems that I had to diagnose. It just started right up, everything worked, alternator charged, the battery, no issues whatsoever. So if you're interested, or if you want to do something similar to your truck, that is definitely the way to go, hands down. So everything's pretty much out of the way. This is our speedo cable and some of our mechanical gauges. Things like that I'm not too worried about because they're not touching the firewall, they're just coming through. We can paint around them. We just got to tape up the master and pull off the bracket for the coil, and then I got to pull the ground off for this blower motor. This is actually 12-volt blower motor for the heater, which I do have a heater in here. I got all the ductwork ran for my defrost and everything, but I don't drive this truck in the cold. I also don't drive it in the rain, so it's really didn't have to do it. But I had the heater core. All I had to do was just get a 12-volt motor, so it wasn't that bad. And it's there if I need it. I got a heater hose here, which I'm actually going to remove for now. But I have everything there ready to go if I ever do want to start driving this thing in colder weather. So we're going to go ahead and tape this master cylinder up next. Okay, so engine isn't looking too bad. We're gonna give it another coat, and I've got some of these little wire brushes. We're gonna start scrubbing on it with a wire brush. Try and get some of this caked on stuff off the pan and stuff like that. I'm not really too worried about the paint. It's just I need a nice clean area. That way our new paint color is gonna stick. So we're gonna give it another spray, and we're gonna go get the brush, and we're gonna start scrubbing them. They're just these little metal bristle brushes, Harbor Freight special. So I'm gonna go ahead and start scrubbing real quick. Alright, so we just got done cleaning the engine up. It looks pretty good. One thing that I wanted to show you guys I thought was cool was, I remember I told you this was a military engine. There's the original green for the head, because I believe that came from the Army, and this is like a battleship gray color because I think the block came from the Navy from what I was told, and those are your two original colors. I just thought that was pretty cool that they painted the engine when it was in the truck, so they didn't get the backside of it. So I think it's pretty cool to show the original colors of it. Alright guys, so the engine's all cleaned up. We're getting ready to do some painting real quick. We're just going to throw a quick layer on it and let that thin layer kind of dry and everything. So this is the color we're going with. It's a high temp, like says it was like a burnt copper metallic. I wanted to do something different, not just red like everybody does. So this is what we're gonna go with. I'm a little iffy on it, so we'll do a light coat, let it dry, and see how it turns out. See if we're gonna repaint it or continue with this color. So let's go ahead and get a coat on here. I got the engine all painted, and we are going to be moving on to the Firewall. This is our engine. This is the color. Now, it looks kind of a little much to me, but you got to think it's just a bare engine right now. Once you get accessories and intake and carburetor on it, it'll kind of break the color down a little bit. And we are going to start on the Firewall. We are going to paint the inner fenders too, same color as the Firewall. That way the whole engine base done, but we're going to wait on that until we get the engine put back in. That way I can get a little more room back in the garage, a little more room to work. So we're going to go ahead and get started on painting the Firewall. Alright, so the color we're doing for this Firewall, it's not really going to change. We're just going to go with a gloss black. It's kind of like a matte to semi-gloss on it right now. And I just wanted a real nice gloss paint job on it to kind of go with our engine. I didn't want the engine just sticking out so bad in the engine bay. So we're going to get this painted up real quick and see how it looks. Alright, so while the Firewall's drying, I'm going to go ahead and throw the motor mounts on. The alternator attaches to this driver's side motor mount. The other one's already on. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this one on and start hanging some stuff on this engine. Alright guys, so we got the motor mount and everything on like you've seen. Now I'm going to show you the purchase that I made that I'm pretty excited about. Real quick, I just got it mocked up on the engine. It's going to come right back off. I just wanted to show you real quick. And there it is. We got the Clifford 6=8 aluminum intake and headers. We got the factory intake down here for comparison. Now this has been obviously modified on the factory one to accept a bigger carburetor, but the Clifford one is so much bigger. Very nice. I've already got the carb adapter on because you have to purchase that whether you're running a 4-barrel or a 2-barrel. And just the weight savings from the Clifford over the factory, because that's all cast iron and this intake is aluminum, so it's about half the weight of the factory setup, and it looks a lot cleaner. And the headers are super nice looking, and it came with a whole bunch of stuff. The exhaust headers comes with an intake and exhaust gasket, and they come with these exhaust flanges with the flange and gasket and hardware. So it is a really good deal. I can't wait to see how this engine's gonna run with this on. I'm very excited about it. One thing to note is you got these holes here, and you can see the difference right here. This is actually a water passage, so you have to run coolant through this intake, because the factory one, as you can see, sits directly on top of the exhaust, which from the factory would help atomize the fuel with the heat from the exhaust. With these tubular headers, you don't have that, so you have to run coolant lines in and out in order to heat the base of this intake up to help atomize the air fuel. Now Clifford says, like, if you're running a heater, you can just tee off of your lines and just go right into the intake and tee off your heater hose lines. I'm not running that, so I've got them plugged here and here. That's water pump, thermostat housing up top. We are going to be running a 3/8 hard line out of the water pump onto the inlet side, and then coming out of the intake and coming back into the thermostat housing. We're going to do that all out of hard line because it's just going to look a lot cleaner versus two big heater hoses just laying over top of the engine. So I just couldn't wait anymore. I had to show you guys. And once you're looking at it, it does kind of break the color up. We're still going to have a fan on, belt, carburetor, exhaust, all that stuff. So I think it'll end up looking good. I'm pretty excited about it. So the Firewall, it's got one coat on it. It's already looking pretty nice and shiny. It's already starting to dry. It's drying pretty quick. So I'm probably going to throw another coat of paint on it real quick. And I'll show you guys what it looks like after. Alright guys, so we got about 3 coats on this Firewall. It's looking pretty good. It's still wet, but you can kind of see the difference in color, hopefully on camera, because it was just the body color of the truck on the Firewall. And we got the engine, got the alternator on like you guys seen. I already got the intake off, put back in the box. So the next video you guys see, we are going to be putting the engine back in once everything's dried up, getting the trans back in, getting this thing sitting back on its wheels and tires. Then we're going to go ahead and paint our inner fenders and then get the front clip and everything back on. So that's going to do it for this video. Appreciate you guys watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.